Hey guys, it's Lord Umber here, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Survive the Night. Survive the Night's a game made by the dev group rake team, and it's modeled after the 2016 game Before the Dawn, which was by the same developers. Survive the Night can be quite fun when you understand it, but it can be confusing and frustrating when you don't understand some of the game mechanics. That's what this video is for. After watching this video, you'll go from a Survive the Night noob to pro in no time. This video is going to be split up into 5 different parts. I'm going to be detailing both survivors and slashers and what they need to do to win. I'm also going to spend some time giving you the 4 best ways to earn cash fast, and I'll give you ideas for gear you would enjoy based on your playstyle. I'm also going to do a short segment at the end on how to use and counter door loops. There are timestamps for different segments in the description. Now let's get into survivor tips and tricks. As a survivor and a slasher, there are a few main things you need to understand in order to do your best at the game. The first and most important one is audio cues. Audio cues are the most important part of the game for survivors and slashers, but their mechanics are sometimes not readily apparent to players. As a survivor, there are a few things you need to watch out for. The most important one is your heartbeat. Your heartbeat starts off quiet and slow, but it'll get faster the closer the slasher gets. Your heartbeat's the best way of knowing whether you're close to or far away from the slasher. Listening to your heartbeat can often be the difference between life and death. If you don't hear a heartbeat, however, there are a few other things you can listen for to determine exactly where the slasher and other survivors are. The first one of these is breaking glass. It's unaware that a broken glass mechanic is in this game, but the lights around the map break when the slasher gets close to them. These can be heard all over the map and are very useful when you can't hear a heartbeat. Something that can be useful to pinpoint survivors as well as slashers, however, are taunts and screams. All survivors and slashers have a taunt, and survivors have a death scream. These taunts are customizable, and there are quite a few options. Taunts are used to show other survivors and the slasher where you are. I wouldn't recommend using them because they show the slasher where you are, but they can be useful when other survivors and the slasher use them because they'll pinpoint exactly where they are. The second part of this are death screams. When survivors die, they'll let out a customized scream, and this is the best way to pinpoint exactly where the slasher is on the map. You also want to listen for the slasher swinging his weapon, because this will also help pinpoint your location as well. A lot of survivors who want to win, however, won't use taunts, so here's the best way to find them anyway, and that's door creaks. All doors creak when open, and this is the best way to tell where other players are. Overall, I would head away from door creaks because they'll be luring the slasher to their location. However, if you want to team up with other survivors, door creaks are the best way to figure out where they are. Visual cues are the next item on the list, and while not as important as audio cues, are still key to surviving until 6 a.m. The most important visual cue is screen static. Your screen starts off slightly staticky, and this static increases when the slasher is close. The other thing that lets you know when the slasher is close is his aura. All slashers give off a red glow where they go, and this is extremely useful when you're trying to run away with them because it shows exactly how close they are to you. This is also useful for spawning them in open maps. The last visual cue you need to watch out for are lights going out. This is part of the audio cue thing as well, because the lights puffing out is often accompanied by the breaking glass. Just run away from those broken lights, since the slasher is likely coming right after. One of the most confusing aspects of the game for some players are the game interactions. It can be hard to know what to grab and what not to. I'll be outlining the 4 things you need to be aware of in a game. The first one is doors. Now, this one may seem boring, because doors are everywhere in the map. It's not like they're special. But this is one of the core mechanics of the game, because once you open or close the door, you can't open or close it again for around 2 seconds. This is extremely useful if the slasher's right behind you, since you can close it in his face and it'll slow him down. You can also use a bunch of doors in door loop, which I'll get into later in the video. Another useful game mechanic are the lockers and crates. Lockers are scattered around the map, and while they take a while to open, they take the slasher just as long to open them as you. These are some of the best hiding spots in the game, but if you got the slasher in your tail, they aren't a viable option. That's what crates and shrubs are for. They appear more frequently. Instead of having to open them, you can just walk right into them. Beware though, because it only takes a slasher 1 hit to break them. The last game thing you need to be aware of are relics. These don't help you survive, instead giving you points and XP every time you find one. If you're saving up for a gear slasher you really want, relics are the best way to get there faster. If you don't care, however, and just want to win the game, I would disregard these golden boxes. Gear and perks are what make each survivor's experience unique. Gears can be things like a gun to stun the slasher, trap the slasher, or something like night vision or the tracker. These can also go with perks. Most perks are things like quieter breathing, faster move speed, or more health. However, some can correspond to a certain gear, and I'll get into that in the gear set. The last part of Survivor segment are ghosts and other players. Ghosts are flickering purple avatars, and they're actually dead players. If you've survived 100 in-game hours and survived the night, you have the option to come back as a ghost and be the first-person spectator. Ghosts are mostly harmless, but do have annoying abilities they can use, so I would recommend staying away from them if you can. The last thing in this list is key to helping other players have a good experience and survive the night. One of the biggest things on this list is don't use your light more than necessary. You can see around you a bit without a light on, and lights just draw the slasher to you. I would only turn your light on for about 3 seconds at a time because nobody likes a flare just following them around with their light on full blast. Another thing on this list is the tracker. Aptly named the trash bag by another Survive the Night YouTuber, this item just isn't good. It doesn't tell you much information you didn't already know, and it's so loud it'll drown out your heartbeat and lead the slasher straight to you. I can't tell you how frustrating it is when someone follows me around with their tracker on the slasher ambushes us. If you're a new player with no other gear, only use it in 3-second intervals like the lamp. Other players will undoubtedly thank you for it. This concludes the Survivor segment. Now I'll explain how to stop the survivors from surviving. That's right, we're going to be talking about slasher tips and tricks. As a slasher, you need to pay attention to the same overall game elements survivors do, which, again, I'll start off with audio cues. While slashers want to listen for taunts and opening doors, they want to go towards them instead of away from them, as a survivor is always going to be right where the taunt or door was used. This is the best way to see survivors around the map when your ability, which I'll get into later, is recharging. Slashers, however, have another audio cue they want to listen for, and that's breathing. Survivors breathe loudly, and when you get close to one, the breathing will lead you straight to the survivor. This is the most useful audio cue a slasher has. Quick note on breaking lights, don't go towards them. They're a tool for survivors, but often slashers will head towards them because they don't understand what they mean. Disregard the breaking lights, or you could be led on a wild goose chase and find nobody. They just slow you down. Slashers don't rely on visual cues as much as survivors do, other than the obvious one, look around for survivors. It's pretty self-explanatory. When you see a survivor, go towards them. Game interactions can be just as important to the slasher, although in different ways. Slashers can pick up relics too, although they would just slow you down if you're trying to win. As a slasher, it's important to close doors behind you, because if you're on the tail of a survivor, they won't be able to close it on you because they have to open it in the first place. This is also a good idea if you find a survivor in a locker. Close the door to the room and they can't close it on you. As a slasher, if you hear breathing but don't see anyone, they're likely in a locker or box. Give the lockers and boxes kind of a look as you go past them, and if you're just running around the map not chasing anyone, break any boxes or shrubs you see. It won't slow you down, and it removes potential hiding spots for the survivors. Abilities are one of the most important things to understand as a slasher. The ability all slashers have is Detect. This is the most powerful ability you have as a slasher because when used, it'll pinpoint all survivors on the map with red dots for 10 seconds or so. This is quite useful when a survivor is quieting their breathing and hiding somewhere, although there is a perk that helps survivors avoid detection. This ability can only be used 3 times a night, but if you can't find anyone, it's 100% the best way to let you know where people are. Each slasher also has an inbuilt ability depending on the slasher. These are things like shooting survivors, one-hitting doors, or getting speed boosts. One of the most important things as a new slasher, don't hit ghosts. I cannot tell you how many times I'll be walking around as a ghost and the slasher will start chasing me down. If you see a flickery purple or red figure, don't run after it. It's a ghost and it'll only slow you down. This concludes the slasher segment. In this part of the video, I'll be explaining how to earn points and XP fast, and I'll explain tokens as well. It can be a grind getting the points for an item you want, but follow these steps and you'll get there faster. The best way to get points and XP is collecting relics. There are even gears that help you do this, and if you need points, just run around the map looking for the golden cubes. They're extremely useful for getting expensive gears and slashers. The second best way is just surviving. You get points for every hour you survive, and you get bonus points for surviving the entire night. However, surviving mostly just gives you XP, and relics are way better than surviving for earning points. The last way to get points and XP is completing bonus tasks. In each run, there are selected bonus tasks for that map. You always have a bonus task to collect 10 relics. Another bonus task can be things like turning the power off in a town, starting up a ship security system, or opening gates to access other doors of the map. When you complete these tasks, you also get bonus points and XP. The last way to get faster points involves Robux. There are multiple game passes which give you extra points and XP, such as the VIP pass or the extra points. In addition, if you're a premium user, as well as getting cool skins for some of the slashers, you also get bonus points and XP. Well, Robux isn't needed. If you have it, it'll help you tremendously. The last thing on the subject of points are tokens. You get tokens from completing daily tasks, which you can see up in the top right of your screen. Once you have enough, you can spend them in the merch shop, which carries some of the most powerful items in the game. Merch sells normal items like the gun and trap, etc., but he also sells perks that go along with his version of the gear. For instance, you can make your merch gun have 3 shots instead of 1, your merch trap instantly recharge when tripped, your merch helmet inform you when the slasher can hear your breathing, and much more. Merch also sells items you can't get anywhere else, like the sonar, which is essentially detect but for a survivor. There are also game passes that increase your daily tokens to get these rare items faster. With all the talk about how to get points fast, you may be wondering, what should I spend them on? I'll give you recommendations for gear based on your playstyle. If you're someone who likes to run around and collect relics, which most people are, I would recommend the camera, which is a reskin of the gun, bandages which heal you, or the trap. If you're specifically looking for relics, I could also recommend the compass because while it doesn't help you survive, it pinpoints relics that are close to you. So that's the best way if you're trying to grind for an item. If you're someone who likes to find a spot and kind of hide there, I would recommend the ghillie, which silences your breathing. Obviously, you want to find items that work for you, but those are some of the best starting ones in my opinion. Plenty of experienced players use the gun, trap, ghillie, and bandages, and they're overall a great investment. As we're reaching the end of this video, I just want to do a short segment on door looping. Door looping is essentially where you find a place where you can run in a circle, closing doors behind you so the slasher can never get you. Even after the map nerfs, which removed a lot of doors, is still one of the best strategies in the game, is implemented by all experienced players. As a slasher, it can be quite annoying to just be chasing after a survivor and never catching them, but the solution is simpler than you would think. Just break down one of the doors in the loop. It takes 10 seconds or so, 3 hits, but once it's gone, the survivor won't be able to complete his loop, allowing you to catch up and kill him. Whatever you do, if you see yourself getting door looped, don't just follow the survivor, it'll only slow you down. Alright guys, hopefully this video will make you way better at Survive the Night, and it'll also help other players enjoy your company more. If this video helped you, please drop a like on the video. Also, I'm going to be making more Survive the Night information gameplay videos, and I just generally upload Roblox horror content, so please subscribe if you want to see more. This concludes the video. Thanks for watching.